Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Week 17 Bayou Blitz post-game extravaganza. To coin, slightly alter, but coin the phrase of the immortal Brent Musburger, you are looking live at Nashville, Tennessee. I can no longer say that I'm in the Nissan Stadium, but we indeed were down here, to watch the New Orleans Saints defeat the Tennessee Titans in a very entertaining football game, to cap off Week 17 for the Saints, and coming to you live for your Bayou Blitz post-game festivities is myself, Bob Rose, and him, Brendan Boylan. Brendan, I know we wished each other that day and off the air, but now that we're live, I'd like to say it again. Merry Christmas to you and your family. I hope everybody on your end has had a great holiday so far. I hope all you viewers are too.
Absolutely. I see that you got some plaid on the walls for the Christmas spirit as well. But hopefully you guys had.
Well, we're in a yeehaw hotel room here in Nashville, so.
Well, yeehaw. I mean, that makes sense for where you're at. But
sure.
I hope you guys had a Merry Christmas and safe travels, not just down, but back to Pittsburgh as well. Interesting game for the Saints. First half was not pretty. But I wanted to get your thoughts being there, and we just talked about it before we got on the air. It appeared that Saints fans traveled pretty well for this one. And so for you, given being in a New Orleans Saints section, what was your thoughts on was it like 60-40? Was it 70-30? How did the Saints fans travel and respond?
Yeah. Honestly, if I'm going to put a percentage on it, it's probably closer to 70-30, Titans to Saints fans. But it felt like 60-40. You could definitely tell that the Saints were well represented, from a fandom. We've run into quite a few people here this weekend so far that have come up from New Orleans or other parts of the country. And, our section, and I mean, it's obviously called the visitor section, but in a lot of stadiums, you still have predominantly home fans, yet Superdome included. And our section was overwhelming, New Orleans Saints fans. In fact, I was telling Brendan before we came on the air, Chase Young twice in the fourth quarter, late in the fourth quarter, turned towards our side of the field, towards the visitor side behind the Saints bench, and motioned for the crowd to get louder. And Chase responded the first time, with a sack of Cam Ward, to end a Titans drive. And then on the next drive, he did exactly that. The same thing again, motioned towards or looked towards the visitor section, asked for more noise, and that was on the 4th and 10 play that essentially ended the game for the Saints. And Chase again responded, flushed Ward from the pocket, where DeMario and Cam Jordan closed in, to take Ward down. Just a blade of grass or two shy of making a spectacular play. The fact that Chase Young asked for more noise in an away game for his team and got it, and then responded by making two plays after doing so. That was a lot of fun.
He's had a good stretch of football here lately, Chase Young. You brought up Cameron Jordan. I had retweeted the statistic, so I do want to pull it up here as we're talking if the internet wants to work with me today. But this is from the New Orleans Saints PR department. Cam Jordan's sack of Cam Ward brings his career total to 131 sacks and a team-leading 9.5 sacks this season. This is Jordan's 7th season with at least 9 sacks. That makes him the 29th player in NFL history to record at least 7 seasons of 9 sacks or more. Super impressive. I was curious when we talked about this on the show a few weeks ago, was, how close are we to having 2 guys in New Orleans have double-digit sack seasons? We're very close. Cam's now half a sack away. I want to say Chase is 1 away. I want to say Chase has 9 without pulling up the numbers in front of me. I think
That
Chase
sounds right. I know they redid the stats. I had Chase for 2 full sacks today. But I looked at the stats again just before we jumped on the air. They officially changed that to a sack and a half. So I do still think that Chase is a half sack behind Cam for the team lead, which would put him, as you said, 1 full sack away from 10 in double digits.
Oh, they're going to make me do math today, aren't they? Let me figure this out real quick. No, he's at 7 sacks on the year. I thought
he was at 7 coming in.
So maybe it just hasn't updated.
Okay.
So 8.5. I was trying to do quick math, and then I was like, I can't do quick math. We're not going to try to play that game. So you're going to get close. It would be the first time since 2013, I believe. I could double check myself, but I'm pretty certain no one's done it since the Gillette and Jordan year.
The only other possibility would be 2020 with Cam and Trey Hendrickson, but I want to say Cam had 8.5 or 9 that year.
I don't think Cam got double digits. I could be wrong, but no, Cam's played really well. Obviously, there's a lot of questions and uncertainty about a couple guys on this roster moving forward. Cam Jordan being in the center of that. Is he going to retire? His contract's up. This, that, and the other. I would love to see him get to a double-digit sack season. Again, half a sack away. I think it'd be fitting for him to do it against the Atlanta Falcons in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, but we will get there. Let's talk about the offense. I did think the defense was good, and I do want to talk about them. But offensively, the first half was kind of the story of the last 5 or 6 weeks. Like, the Saints cannot run the football whatsoever. That's how the first half was for this team. Tyler Shuck was the leading rusher going into, I want to say going into like halfway through the third quarter, he was still the leading rusher on the ball game. And that's been a concern. But in the second half, something clicked, something turned around. Obviously, Estime had a couple runs where it really wasn't the blocking in front of him. It was just his escapability and his ability to hit a hole and go. But I will say that the offensive line did a better job opening up and creating something for Estime. It went from getting a yard or 2 to opening up just enough space to where he could get 3, 4, 5, 6 yards in the second half. You do have to tip your cap to a makeshift offensive line at this point. And Tyler Shuck, though the numbers in the first half were not bad, there was just no offensive rhythm. Those numbers continued to be good, and you found an offensive rhythm in the second half. And frankly, this game could have been a 2-score ball game late in the fourth quarter. You have been on the I don't know what to call it. I don't want to call it the Tyler Shuck train because it's just not original enough. I don't have a word that starts with an S. I don't have a word for, like, I guess you've been a Shuck supporter since the jump. There we go. Without thinking too hard. But he's really played.
I'm a shucking genius.
A shucking genius. There you go. That's a Bob Rose original for you. But that's a good one. He's played really well over the last 4 weeks. Obviously, the Saints now on a 4-game winning streak. In this game, he has just a few incomplete passes, not many. I want to say he was 22 of 27. Yep, for 333 and 2 touchdowns. I'll throw that on the screen. Only 5 incompletions in this game. Threw the ball with confidence, still maneuvering the pocket very well, and you can see the relationships he's built, not just with Chris Olave, not just with Juwan Johnson, but you look at Austin, you look at Pettis, you look at the tools that he's been forced to work with, and it just looks like Shuck's getting more and more confident every week.
100%. My wife Lauren, son Will made the trip. We obviously attended the game together. Professional football game. And And I said, I think you're really going to like the way Chuck goes to football in person. And he became way impressed. And I'm not gonna bang the drum. Tyler Shuck, plenty of people are doing that, and I have been doing it. It's pre-draft. Those of you who follow us, Bayou Blitz, or follow my written work, but I mean, Shuck set a new career high in yardage. Moved the ball despite the lack of a running game through the first 2.5 quarters, like you said, Brendan. And he's doing so. He's hitting passes to Olave and Juwan for big yardage, but he's also finding Pettis. He's finding Austin. Mason Tipton wasn't able to play today, nor was Foster Moreau. So I mean, he's finding guys, that by all rights should be on someone's practice squad and are only playing because of either injuries or grades or personnel. More people sort of, you feel the tsunami wave for Tyler Shuck offensive year growing, and I don't think he's going to get it because he's had such a late start to the season. There is a case to be made, and again, like we've talked about for multiple weeks now, at the very least, the Saints have quarterback for the near future. And I would really like to see how good Tyler Shuck is with a legitimate offense around him. Real guards, and a bona fide top receivers and a top crew of running backs. And I say running backs for last because I echo what you said about Estime. Just running with breaking tackles, 2, 3, 4 tackles, just for extra effort. Audric finished with 94 yards on the ground today, which is by far and away the best of his career. And a lot of it was on that 32-yard amazing effort breakaway touchdown run. But even before that, on the 2 drives previous to that, Tyler made some really nice throws to keep the drives alive. But Audric was breaking tackles and getting a couple 8, 10-yard pops on his runs. So the Saints on paper look like they had a balanced attack today, and that kind of helped Tyler in the last couple of quarters with the pass rush, which was giving him some problems in the first half. He didn't make, Shuck didn't make any poor throws thanks to pressure, but he took a couple sacks or had to take checkdowns because his reads, and you could see he was looking downfield. For Juwan, he had Pettis break open late. In the second quarter on one of his throws, but just it couldn't see him in time. So that balance provided by Estime in the second half, kind of slowed the Titans' pass rush and allowed Shuck to hit a couple of those throws down the seam to Juwan, and certainly the deep play to Olave, to give the Saints the game-winning score.
I'm glad you brought up pushing the ball downfield, some of those deep shots, though some of them didn't connect. I was very impressed with the trust that Kellen Moore had to take some deep shots late in the game where a lot of other guys would have just handed the ball off and tried to milk some clock. I think that says one of two things. One, I do think there's a lot of trust and a lot of confidence in Tyler Shuck. But 2, I think it tells me all I need to know about how the play calling has changed because of the quarterback change. Mm-hmm. You weren't seeing things like that early in the season with Spencer Rattler. And it feels like we're completely removed and in a completely different stratosphere and maybe multiverse since the Spencer Rattler starting quarterback days. But it's true. I don't remember a time where it's like, hey, let's take a risk here and let's push the ball downfield or at least take a shot and see what happens. You're seeing that a lot more. as we progress through the season with less weapons, right? I'm not saying that Spencer Rattler had a Ferrari type of roster to play with, but it may have been like a reliable Honda Accord or a reliable Toyota Camry. He had some pieces that you could rely on to where you look at what Shuck has and you're like, well, I don't really know a good car comparison for what he's got, because you have a couple good pieces. You might have a good motor under the hood, but or maybe vice versa. Maybe the motor's not great, but the outside looks nice. And that's just kind of where we're at this point. I've been really impressed with Shuck. I've been really impressed with, I keep using the word confidence, but for a rookie quarterback, you're on a 4-game winning streak. This is now a couple times he's had to come from behind and lead the Saints to victory. That's just not something you see from a quarterback, a rookie quarterback that came in halfway through the season, that was not a first-round pick. And when he took over it this season, what were you and I saying here? It was like, well, at this point, you just throw some spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks. You got to see what you have. And that was the reason for the change. Yeah, Rattler had not been playing well, but it was one of those like, it can't get any worse. And now all of a sudden, I talked about this a few weeks ago when we were previewing the end of the season. I was like, the Saints could legitimately finish with 7 wins, which if you had told me that 8 weeks ago, I would have thought you were crazy. The Saints could legitimately finish the year 7-10. Now, are some of you going to be boo-hooing if they do that because it ruins their draft position or whatever? Sure. But what I'm more worried about is the fact if this team closes out on a 5-game winning streak, you have some guys that are a little bit rejuvenated. Speaking of a guy who's rejuvenated, I'll throw his stats on the screen right now. That guy's rejuvenated in Chris Olave. And you're starting to see some of those things. And maybe you have Cameron Jordan, who's a little on the fence about retirement, but you go on a 5-game win streak and you kind of see the vision a little bit clearer. It might keep some guys around. It might attract a free agent or two to come to New Orleans. Those are the things. I talked about these being culture wins. I didn't think they'd win 4 in a row, but I talked about culture wins and how important they were down the season. A 5-game win streak is a real damn good way to say, here's our culture, and this is what we're going to ride on going into next year. That can go a million different ways. It may not start with a winning streak to start next season, but these are really positive steps that we're seeing. Again, from an offense for like the 100th year in a row, I feel like we're saying at the end of the year, they're playing with guys that would be on practice squads. This has got to be the 4th, 5th straight year we've said that. And the Saints are winning football games, albeit not great competition, but they're finding ways to win. And that is super, super important. And defensively, my God, we went from talking about Chase Young being a guy who was going to be what he's been, inconsistent, up and down, health's a question, but when he plays, he's a guy that could make a difference. Now, all of a sudden, we're talking about him being a pillar of the defense moving forward for the next few years. Cameron Jordan, at the beginning of the year, we're like, what are we going to be getting out of Cameron Jordan at this point in his career? He's at 9.5 sacks. He leads the team in sacks. Demario Davis is still doing his thing. The secondary, right? Remember that first week of the season?
Not today, but yeah.
Yeah, not today, but you remember that at the beginning of the season, we're sitting there and you have the injuries to the safety spot. And you're, what are the Saints going to do? They're starting a young guy in Kool-Aid McKinstry. Isaac Yiadom was starting. It was like, is he going to be the same guy from when he left New Orleans? Clearly not. But you had all of those question marks. And then as of late, again, maybe not so much today, and Cam Ward did have some flashes of being a really special player. But all of a sudden you're looking at this defense, you're going, maybe we aren't as removed as we thought we were. Like maybe they're actually piecing a competitive team together. I'll let you guys sit on that one. Maybe, just maybe, they knew what they were doing all along. As much criticism as I've given them, a lot of these guys have showed up this year when it would have been extremely easy just to pack it in. And you know this being a coach as well, when you struggle, how easy it is for guys just to mentally check out before the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
But how special it is to find a group that's resilient and says, we're not going to pack it in. We're still going to get something out of the remainder of this season, although there's not a whole lot to play for outside of pride. That's what I've been super impressed with. That's how you set culture. And that's why, even though you go back and you watch this game and you may be unimpressed with the first half, or you look at the final score and you go, oh, they only beat the Titans by one score. That's why you have to look past those things and you have to see, you have to take a step back, I guess, and you have to look at the full picture, because I see what they're building here. And Bob, I think you do too.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I have gone back to what Courtney Roby said in our interview with him about a week and a half ago, about how important it is, to have momentum, to build momentum at the end of the season going into the off season. And yes, of course, there's going to be a lot of roster changeover. That happens in professional sports now. But you still, in the Saints case, you're still going to have a young core. And this kind of finish just builds confidence for them. They had played a Jets team that has given up. But I will tell you from watching them today, the Titans haven't given up. They played hard today, and they have some pieces surrounding Cam Ward on offense. Cam, I think, is going to be a good NFL quarterback. Jeffrey Simmons is still one of the most dominant defensive linemen in the NFL. Nobody could tell me otherwise. Jeffrey Simmons on my team, and he tortured blockers, all interior blockers, all day today. But you are winning with young guys like Brendan. Chase Young is playing by far the best football of his career. We've watched a very young secondary come of age. Again, not forward today, but we also expect that you're going to have some ups and downs, some speed bumps. It's a roller coaster ride when you're playing with rookies and second year players. The resilience that this team, the Saints team, has shown down the stretch. Realistically, folks, New Orleans has been out of playoff contention since around Halloween or shortly thereafter. And they played their best football since. And yeah, I know on paper the schedule got easier, but these are still NFL football teams, not counting the Jets. These are still NFL football teams that they are playing. And guys are playing for their jobs, and playing for pride, and playing to build momentum, and playing to, as a phrase you like to use lately, playing to build a culture. These are very, very important things, and things not to overlook as the Saints go into this offseason.
I also want a lot of you. Bob and I have been a fan of this guy for a while. I think going into this season, I have to go back and watch the tape, but we may have called this a not make or break season, but like a career defining season for Juwan Johnson going into week one. That may have been the terminology we used. And it's been a little bit of up and down roller coaster, as much of his career has been. But I do think he deserves some apologies from people. Like, this guy has 830 receiving yards. He has more receiving yards than Ladd McConkey at this point in the season. He has a chance to crack 900. I don't think he's getting 170 yards next week, so I'm not going to say he's going to get 1,000, but he has a good chance to get 900. And we go back and we say this year in and year out.
Sorry to interrupt you, but that would be more receiving yards than any Saints tight end not named Jimmy Graham has ever had, if he hits that plateau.
I'm glad we're on the same page, because I was going to say, we continuously go back to Benjamin Watson's season of like 800 and talk about that being the best tight end season outside of Jimmy Graham, right? maybe there was 1 year in there with Jared Cook where he got close to some of those numbers. But we always go back to Benjamin Watson, which shout out Ben Watson for somehow continuing to be in conversations all these years later as a player. But if that's been our standard and that's what we've been looking for as analysts and fans and what have you for a tight end, like Juwan Johnson's been that. The touchdowns haven't been there. I think we were spoiled all those years with Jimmy Graham because the touchdowns were always there. And Juwan's touchdown numbers haven't been there, but the yards have. The ability to work the seams has been there. We saw that today, obviously, being able to really attack the middle of the field today. I think he's been good. And for the third or fourth straight year, like I think he has earned. I think he's earned being tight end one another season. And I feel like that's just kind of what we've got used to saying about Juwan Johnson is he deserves another year. But these aren't prove it years anymore. This is the expectation for you, Juwan, type of years. But he's done enough to where I can comfortably say next year he should be the number one guy. Obviously, has a relationship with Tyler Shuck. We've seen that statistic thrown out there before, which is a super odd one that they were, college roommates at Oregon. So like that's kind of funny, all things considered. But I've been really impressed with how certain guys have stepped up. I do think there's some major question marks when it comes to the offensive line going into the offseason into next year. I think there is going to be a serious conversation about running back, and that'll be something we probably save for our Thursday night show, since we won't be doing a New Year's Eve show. So I'll go ahead and tell you guys that. We'll be doing a New Year's Day show. I think running back's going to be a serious question, how they want to move forward. And obviously, once we know where the Saints are drafting, there's going to be a lot of speculation on what they use that number, that first round pick on. But I do think that there's a core, which I was not comfortable saying earlier this season. But I do think the Saints have found a core group of players that they can build around, right? Offensively, we talk about Tyler Shuck. We talk about Chris Olave. It's a little early to say, and it's a small sample size, but like I do believe you may be able to throw Devon Bailey in that conversation of being like a core building block piece.
If you mean top three on your roster, I would agree with that.
Yeah, just something you can comfortably say, we have something here. Let's try to build with what we have. I think he kind of fits that mold. I think Juwan Johnson fits that mold. Defensively, we talked about those youthful defensive backs. We've talked about Chase Young. You bring up Isaiah Stallbird week in and week out. He's a guy you could build on. Danny Stutzman's had some moments. Like, I do see something you can build around. And again, that's not something I could say in week 8, in week 9. I didn't see it, but I'm starting to see it now. And I think that's the most impressive thing. I do want to shout out Charlie Smith. I do know he missed one today. But he hit 250 yarders today, which is big. That's big time. And I think he has solidified himself as a guy who should be, at least going into camp, it should be his job to lose if they bring in other kickers into training camp. Kai Kroger, I don't know how he's going to have a job next year. I have no idea. Obviously, you have the 17-yard punt. I'm not even talking about that. I'm just talking about some of the other punts where it's just like, why'd that thing only travel like 38 yards in the air?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on? So it'll be another year of punter carousel for the Saints, I believe. But even talking about those like core pieces, you're looking at kicker. It is nice to be able to check that box and say, we have a kicker. We haven't been able to say that about the punting position. Groupie, had some ups and downs and obviously ended up, getting released after some more downs than ups. But like those little check boxes are huge at this point. Bob, you were at the game. Is there anything we haven't talked about that you wanted to throw out there?
No, the effort continue to see the Saints offensively and defensively. Yeah, I mean, call it for what let's call them for what they are. This is still a team that has several pressing needs this offseason, and we'll have plenty of time to talk about that. But just watching all 53 players, just come together, continue to play hard. Shout out to the coaching staff for that. We have been, both Brendan and myself, have been pretty critical of Kellen Moore, Brandon Staley. You can see the vision with these guys, though, and more importantly than just us seeing the vision, the players have bought into their message, and that's all you can ask of a coach with a young rebuilding team. But buy into the message, improve as the season goes along, and be a team that that nobody wants to play in December. And I think granted, the Falcons next week, Titans, Jets, Dolphins, none of them were playoff contenders when they played the Saints. But if there were a playoff contender on the roster, I'm not so sure that they'd be overly thrilled about playing the New Orleans Saints with the way the Saints are playing right now. And that's what we asked for from this team from the beginning of the year. I don't think any of us truly believed that this team was a legitimate playoff postseason contender. We just wanted a squad that improved, check, played hard, check, and was a better team at the end of 2025 than at the beginning. And even with all the injuries and the personnel losses, check. Those are 3 big boxes in my book.
Oh, yeah. And I believe I was early in the season, I said this team would be lucky to see 6 wins. We might see 7. We might see 7. And again, to your point, Bob, that is me speaking without knowing about the injuries, the personnel changes, all those things. I thought with a healthy roster, they haven't had Alvin Kamara in a month. With all of that, I still thought they'd be lucky to win 6. They might get a 7th victory. And to your point about playoff teams, I mean, look, they did, maybe not on this win streak in particular or in December in particular, but Tampa and Carolina were teams that if they had beat the Saints, we wouldn't be going into this last week of the season in week 18 with those 2 battling out for the NFC South crown, because the Panthers lost today.
Exactly.
And Tampa lost today. So it is a winner-take-all Week 18 matchup, which is insane, by the way. Just to throw this out there, if Tampa wins, they will win the South with a losing record. Just to throw that out there. But look, if either of those teams beat the Saints, it's a completely different story. So the Saints were competitive against teams that are competing for playoff spots, which is all we asked for ultimately.
Yep.
Well, Bob, I hope you guys enjoy your night in Nashville. I take it you're leaving early in the morning tomorrow.
We will. Not as early as what I normally do when I travel, because I do have a radio show in the morning, and I'm going to scramble through the evening to get my usual game balls post-game piece done. And if my wife is willing to take the first hour to 90 minutes of the drive, then I'll have a good, bad, and ugly piece available for you early in the day on Monday. If not, then it'll be Monday evening or Tuesday morning. So my usual Saints Wire post-game pieces will be out. It'll just be a little bit later than usual. As I always do, I will post them on my personal social medias, Bob Rose on Facebook, at BobbyR2613 over on Twitter. And make sure that you give us all a follow over at the Saints Wire too. John Sigler, myself, Jeremy, Dylan, Chrissy, we all put out some good weekly. I think we put out some good weekly content.
Absolutely. Go ahead and give them a follow, and make sure to follow Bob, because we're getting closer to that warmer time, which means we're getting closer to the cruise, which means Bob's going to be happy and spreading, Christmas cheer in the spring. So we're definitely looking forward to that.
I apologize. Shireen. I forgot all my get checked or check out promos at home. So I'm going to wing this. check out tcynow.org. That's the Get Checked or Check Out website. Please check them out, donate. But the important thing to remember here is the biggest fundraiser that Get Checked or Check Out does yearly is the annual Go Black and Gold Celebrity Charity Fan Cruise. This year's cruise, the 2026 cruise, which, by the way, my family and I are already booked. We're waiting for you to book too. Late March, March 20. Do you have the dates? March 20 something to
28th?
26th to the 30th. I remember.
Okay, there you go.
Me.
I was right
March 26th through the 30th is the 2026 cruise. We are going to the Bahamas out of Jacksonville, Florida, this year. So it's a new destination. Make sure you sign up today. The details to do so are on the tcynow.org site, or check out our Bayou Blitz Facebook page too, or go to the Get Checked or Check Out Facebook page or Instagram page. Real easy details to sign up, and you're not only joining me, as if I was a headliner, but I'm certainly not. However, Courtney Roby, Delvin Breaux, Michael Lewis, Tyrone Hughes, they are headliners, and they will be on the 2026 cruise, as they always are. So check out all the details to that. Again, I apologize. I forgot my promo reads. I will be back to normal, probably with a less raspy voice too, when Brendan and I go back on the air on Thursday.
And I don't want to misspeak, but I'm pretty sure I saw on a post that there was a question mark on one of the Saints helmets, maybe indicating there might be one more surprise guest to come in. So you guys definitely
Kind of, maybe, sort of. Not allowed to reveal anything yet.
Well, I'm not asking you to reveal. I'm just saying, for the people at home, there may be another one. Maybe, cannot confirm nor deny. There may or may not possibly be another Saints great joining the cruise this year. For myself, you can follow me virtually everywhere at BT Boylan. Bob and I will be back in 2026, New Year's Day. Again, we're not going to be doing our usual Wednesday show because it falls on New Year's Eve. And by the time it's 9 o'clock, you guys don't want to see us. You want to probably see Ryan Seacrest on your TV or whoever you decide to watch. Ryan's a little better looking than me. I don't know if Bob wants to go as far as saying Ryan's better looking than him, but we understand. It's okay. We will see you guys New Year's Day. And trust me, if you guys are worried, because we got some serious bowl games New Year's Day, we'll also have some up. We'll try to keep you guys up to date. Or you guys can split screen it, because that's we're going to be in 2026. You can split screen everything. Just have us on one side and have whatever bowl games on the other. So until then, thank you guys for tuning in to another post-game extravaganza. We've had 6 post-game extravaganzas this year. We're hoping to make it 7. Sunday, the Saints will be taking on the Atlanta Falcons in Atlanta, Georgia. Bob and I will have the preview on Thursday, and we'll give you the post game on Sunday. So until then, I hope you guys had a Merry Christmas and a wonderful holiday. And let us be the first to wish you a Happy New Year. Bob and I will see you in 2026. Yes, safe. That is the key one nowadays. Have a safe, responsible, Happy New Year. Let's see if I can do this. This is Bob Rose. I'm Brendan Boylan. Thanks for tuning in. We will see you guys in a year, in 2026. So until then, find some peace, spread love, practice positivity. See you then. Who dat?